Most people watch football for the highlights, the big plays, the touchdowns, the big hits, not understanding there's a nuance to the game. There's so many things that happen without you understanding what's going on. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, my name is Christian Troupe. Welcome back to episode 15 of the Trust Troupey Podcast. Let's go! Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing great. So 15 of the Trust Troupey Podcast is here, and 15 weeks. It's stacking. It's stacking. Very excited about what we got going on. Very excited about what we're doing. Like I said, make sure you guys go follow on all platforms. Make sure you guys go follow on TikTok at Troupey Whoopie. 5,000 followers over there. Make sure you go follow the podcast pages at the Trust Troupey Podcast on Spotify, TikTok, on Apple Podcasts, and make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube at Troupey Whoopie. Man. Oh, also the Instagram clips. I've been slacking with clips on Instagram. Instagram clips. Make sure you guys go check out Instagram at ct.03. Just hit 10K on there not too long ago. Very excited about that. A lot of stuff going on right now. We got a lot going on. I'm very excited about what we have building up for this week, for this podcast, and what we have planned for the future and the things we can do. Planning on getting another guest here soon. You know how that go. But got a big episode for you guys today. We talked about the draft last week. The draft just happened yesterday as I'm recording. A lot of things to talk about with that. I'm not going to touch base on that right now. I went into a full in-depth dive of the draft. If you guys want to go check that out, go check out the last episode. Today, we're really talking about more hidden things when it comes to football. We're talking about the things people don't see, the things that really affect the game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of what I made this podcast for was for people to understand, I guess, the things that they don't see, the hidden things behind the game, the things from a player perspective that could make or break a game, you know what I mean? A lot of these things are big parts of football, but a lot of people don't know about them. And I'm here to kind of educate you and kind of let you know about how these things work or how these things are working in the future, you know what I mean? So let's kind of get into it, okay? So the first segment, I want to talk about substitutions, tempo, that type of thing. I want to talk about that. I don't think people understand the magnitude to which a specific sub or a specific package will do for a team or whatever's going on. I don't think people understand that, because a lot of the time it's put your best players on the field, yes. But you got to understand that I think that's one of the hardest things as a coach, is understanding that certain players are better in certain packages. Certain players are better at certain times on the field. And I think a lot of coaches get mixed up in, I just want my guy, you know what I mean? Not understanding that maybe, again, you can still have your guy, but maybe in this package, when you have a rover in the in the defensive backfield, you need him to play the rover rather than that other guy because he's better in these type of situations, understanding your personnel. But I just think one of the most underrated parts of football is how teams kind of control the game, using subs and you know what I'm saying, before anything happens, you know what I'm saying, using alignment and subs, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about pre-snap read and all of that later. But for example, think when the offense goes tempo, correct? Right? So we're looking at an offense that's fast-paced, hurry up. It's very effective, but you got to have the right people on the field for that, and you have to be able to rotate quickly, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, your O-linemen are going to get tired. You got to have that backup ready to go because you want to be able to go. Once you get that first down, it's ready to go, you know what I'm saying? Receiver runs a deep ball. Hey, get off. Come off for a couple plays. Get the backup in, whatever. You got to be ready for that stuff, and it changes the course of how, I guess, these offensive tempo teams work. Same thing with the defense, you know what I mean? Now, of course, in football, now they have a rule that when one team subs, the other team you have to let the other team sub as well, right? But same thing for defense. I think for defense, it is crucial to have at least 3 different units of D-line. You have to have a first unit, a second unit, your hybrid unit, your blitz package unit. You have to have all of that. Same thing for corners. I think most of the time, you leave your corners on the field. But I think in certain situations, you got to have your nickel look corners. You have to have your zone look corners. You have to have this. You have to have corners readily available because they're going to be running routes to every player, and it's going to be fast as shit too, right? But I think a big part of the offense doing tempo and doing substitutions like that is, again, you got to have fresh. The fresher you are, the more healthy you are, the more fresh you are, the better off you're going to be, right? But I think a lot of it has to do with, I guess, trying to catch the defense off guard, right? Hurrying up to the line. If your defense is not disciplined, then we're talking a situation to where now your defense is not in the right place, and now that's a free play. That's a free 5. You know what I'm saying? It's free 5 yards. Or your defense is so tired that they're undisciplined, and a hard snap comes, and now you're off the sides, right? But it's one of those underrated parts of the game that, like, people don't really pay attention to, because it's hard when you're watching the course of a game. When you're watching the course of a game, you don't pay attention to the little details. Even me, I have to go back and watch a lot of the games solely so I can get some of the main and core details that I kind of miss. You know what I mean? Obviously, I have a football brain, so I'm thinking about all those things as I'm watching. I'm thinking about, oh shit, that defensive end used that spin move on that old tackle. How is that offensive tackle going to adjust now? You know what I mean? I'm thinking about those little things, but I'm also, sometimes when I'm looking at subs, I'm not really thinking about that. I'm worried about the next play, right? So thinking about it from, I guess, a football standpoint, I guess the most popular version of this would be defensively. You're in a dime, you're in a nickel, you're in a whatever. Those are all different packages, and those are all different players on the field. Dime is a lot of damn DBs, right? Nickel is 5 DBs, you know what I'm saying? Dime is a shit ton of DBs on the field, you know what I'm saying? Because you know it's a passing situation. It's 3rd and 15. It's 3rd and 15. Yes, they can run a draw. Yes, they can run the ball. Yes, but you're expecting pass, so you prepare for pass. I think, and this is gonna sound crazy. I think teams that can utilize more DBs rather than extra backers, those teams are elite defensively. Especially if your DBs are willing to come up and tackle. If you have bigger DBs or bigger safeties that can play in that rover linebacker kind of position, you're going to set yourself for a versatile-ass defense, a super versatile defense. Same thing with the nickel. If you're running a nickel defense, that nickel corner is like the centerpiece of your defense, because not only is he going to the strength of the football, he's also guarding one of the shiftier positions in the slot, taking away inside, cutting crossers. Yeah. Same thing with that, you know what I'm saying? Or heavy sets for offense. Think about it. We all know big 4th down package, Eagle style, right? Tush push, right? You got to have a heavy package. You got to have O-linemen that are going to move. Maybe your O-linemen that you're playing with right now that are all-game O-linemen, maybe those aren't the guys you want on your heavy package. Maybe on your heavy package, you want to bring in 4 defensive tackles that you know are going to move something. You know what I mean? Same thing for a heavy package on defense. It'd probably be smart. If you know the ball, they're running the ball, it'd probably be smart to take off your smaller guys, take off your corners. You know what I mean? That's what, in college, we had a heavy package. We called it jumbo. We called it jumbo. And I used to come off the field during that because they knew what was coming. It was 4th down. It was time to get a stop. It was time to muscle up and get a stop and tackling. And I'm a good tackler, but we talk about we need to move backwards, right? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the advantage is created by who's on the field, right? Sometimes the advantage is created by the matchups you want to select. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you have a slot receiver that runs a 4-2, but he's not big enough to play. But you're running a deep ball package, and you know damn well getting him in space, or it's the end of the game, and you know you need 15 yards, and they're playing 15 yards off. Screenplay to your fastest guy. He might not play all the time, but it's time to, you know what I'm saying? Certain people are just better in certain positions, right? Certain people are better in certain areas, certain levels, certain things going on. You have to be able to mismatch and do what you have to do with that. You know what I mean? But again, it's something that people don't think about. Yes, it seems simple enough. Yeah, obviously, if you're running a nickel package, you're going to need a really good nickel corner, right? Or if you're running a dime package, you're going to need a bunch of corners that can cover, right? Or a bunch of safeties that can cover, obviously, yes. But you don't think, I can guarantee you a lot of y'all aren't thinking that on the field. Or while watching the game, you know what I mean? Oh, dime package, I hope their DBs can cover. You probably didn't even know they were in dime, right? But again, a big part of why I made this podcast is so we can think about things past what you just see. You know what I'm saying? Past what you think you see. It's deeper than that. It's the thought process behind a lot of things. It's the thought process behind certain ways of doing things, right? A lot of that stuff matters. It matters, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think in certain packages, everything has a weakness. Obviously, if you see a team out there in a dime package, you better be ready to run that football, because unless your DBs can tackle, man, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with the offense. If you see a 3 tight end set, the defensively, man, step up. Everybody step up a cool 5 yards defensively. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's a run play. If they throw it over our heads, cool. If the tight end outruns the DB, then you were set up to fail in the first place. Why is he on the field, right? Creating these alignments, creating these things going on, it's huge. It's huge for sure. But let's move on to the next segment. Speaking of situational football and everything, let's get into that. Situational football, third down execution, red zone execution, 2-minute offense, 4-minute offense. Talent matters, but understanding and knowing what you're going to see on certain plays in certain situations matters more than anything, and that's all coaching. For example, I played DB in college, I played corner in college, you know what I mean? 3rd and 2, what type of route are you expecting? Hitch, slant, something short, right? Something short that can take a second to get open, right? Because usually a lot of teams bring heat on 3rd down. Think of this offensively, right? So you have to think about this in a sense of, okay, if the defense is going to blitz on 3rd down, if we're going to blitz on a 3rd and 2, you try to get pressure. Let's force a punt here. It'd be smart for the corner to not only press cover, because, again, any free release is enough time for a quarterback to sling it in for a slant, for a hitch, for a quick out, whatever. Press coverage is probably the way to go there, right? I used to think about it like this. 3rd and 5 and shorter, press coverage. Press coverage on 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5 and shorter. Taking away anything short by playing press coverage, moving your feet, getting hands on, throwing off any type of timing on 3rd and 5 is amazing. 3rd and 6 and longer, that's where you could play around with things, because if you want to run a 6-yard or a 8 back to 6-yard comeback or hitch, by all means do it. My D-line's there already, right? But these situations matter, right? 3rd down, I say, is the most important play in football, because it separates how long the drive is going to go, or it separates how resilient your defense is, right? 3rd down should be important to everybody. If you are not executing on 3rd down, you are going to be a shitty football team. 3rd down is the most important down in the game. Yes, you have to win on 1st down. Yes, you have to win on 2nd down. Yes, you have to win on every single down. But if you win on 3rd down consistently, look at the stats on this. I don't have the stats pulled up, but look at the stats on this. Teams that excel on 3rd down percentage usually are the best teams in the country, or usually the best teams in their conference, or the best teams in the league, or whatever. Excelling on 3rd down, right? Excelling on 3rd down is absolutely a key to winning a football game. Obviously, other things go into it. You have to be great on special teams. You have to be efficient on offense. You have to be efficient on defense. But a part of that efficiency on offense and defense is winning on 3rd down, right? Same thing in the red zone. My thing is, in the red zone, is everything should be press coverage. It's too short. You're not gonna get beat on the back of the end zone if you are a step behind. You actually have more of a shot to catch up if he's right there, right? We're looking at red zone. I think it's essential for teams to understand that with the limited space you have in the red zone, it should probably be plays that you know you can come to. I think, like I said, the best red zone play for any offense to ever run, especially have a mobile quarterback, is sprint out. Sprint out. I might show you this later, right? Sprint out. I can show you guys. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys a play. I'm going to show you guys a play that I think every single team should run in the red zone, whether it's goal line, whether it's 5, 10, 15. Actually, we'll do that right now. Let's take a look over to this handy-dandy board, right? We're going to take a look at the handy-dandy board. Red zone. Boom. We're right here. Let's draw up an O-line here, right? Boom, boom, center, boom, boom. Hope y'all can see that, right? Quarterback, running back, right? You see it, right? Let's go X backside. Let's go our H. Let's go our Y. And let's go our Z right here. So we're in a bunch right. We're in a bunch right with a backside, right? All you're gonna do from the backside is you're gonna go backside dig on the back of the formation. But here, what you're going to do, let's just say you're on the 15-20, right? 15-20. Your Y is going to run a corner route. Your H is going to go shallow, and then you're going to bring him back across the field. Because now you're creating a two-way go here, right? Quarterback sprints out. Now you have a two-way go. Obviously, this guy, if he's not picked up, a quarterback can always do that. I will never expect a quarterback to throw backside unless it's wide open. But you have a three-way go here. You have your H, which this is more of like a quick out, right? You have your H that's throwing here. I'm sorry for my audio listeners, but you have an H that's throwing here. You have your corner route, to which if the corner jumps this, easy pass there. And then, not to mention, you have the backside dig if things get muddy. Perfect red zone play. Perfect red zone play. Every single time. Perfect red zone play every single time. Perfect red zone play every single time, people. In fact, it's such a perfect play that almost every NFL team runs it. I want you to think about some of the teams that have ran this play, right? Ravens in the playoffs. Remember that pass that Mark Andrews dropped to propel them to on the 2-point conversion? That was that play. It was a variant of that play in the Super Bowl that won with the Chiefs against the 49ers. That play it's unstoppable because not only does it move the pocket for the quarterback, but it does a lot of things. Like I said, I'm sorry for my audio listeners that listen on Apple Podcasts. I apologize. But it just goes to show how important like red zone offense and execution is, you know what I mean? Because obviously your play calling is going to switch up from your red zone to your red zone to open field. Open field, you can do a lot more. Red zone, it's a lot more tight. That's why a lot of things are amazing. And I told you how I feel about Mendoza, but one thing I will say is Mendoza was amazing in the red zone. If he has any quality features as a quarterback, it's red zone. Him in the red zone, he made a lot of really damn good reads, a lot of really tight-knit throws and everything. That's one thing I'll give him credit for. In the red zone, he was borderline flawless. I will give him credit for that. 2-minute offense. When we're looking at situational football when it comes to 2-minute offense, it's understanding where the first down is, where you are on the field when you catch the ball, the type of plays that need to be ran, right? If you're an offensive coordinator and you're running deep ends to the field, you're fucking yourself over. Because obviously in college the play clock stops at the first down until they reset the chains, right? NFL, that same shit. Running shit towards the sideline, a lot of outs, a lot of corners, a lot of, you know what I'm saying, things that can matriculate you down the field, but also making sure you get out of bounds. And I think a lot of times what loses people football games is the lack of the 2-minute situation. I look at Miami versus Notre Dame, first game of the season last year. Notre Dame's down 3, 2-minute situation. We have a chance to do anything. O-line can't block. We can't do anything else. We lose the game. Big part of that game. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into it. C.J. Carr first start, this, that, and the third. Miami's D-line was feasting against the O-line, but it was a 3-point game with a minute left, and we had a chance to go down and win the game. 2-minute drills will lose or win a coach a game. If you're good at a 2-minute drill, you can bail yourself out of a lot of situations within a game, right? But if you suck at it, now we're looking at a situation of, oh, shit, we have to score before we get to this point because if we get rushed, it's over with. And then, obviously, 4-minute is about the same as 2-minute, but again, the play calling becomes widely more drastic. And 2-minute, it's hurry up, we gotta go. 4-minute, it's we have time, we just know we have to score, right? Because realistically, if you start the 4-minute drive on the opposite 25, right, you know damn well you don't have to rush to get out of bounds. Now, realistically, if you start on the 25, as long as you're around the 50 to the opposite 45 with 2 minutes left, you now can still be mellow and do your thing, right? Depending on what the score is. Play calling obviously varies from 2-minute, 4-minute, and whatever. And I think those teams that can excel on those type of things, and those things will be great. Like I said, a great football team will be elite at third down conversion percentage, whether it's offense and defense, red zone, stops, and scoring, 2-minute offense and 4-minute offense. 2-minute offense and defense and 4-minute offense and defense. If you can go down and get a score within 2 minutes and get a stop within 2 minutes, you are an elite football team. If you can go 4 minutes and hold no points while also going down and being able to score efficiently, you're an elite football team. If you can get off the field on third down on defense and making sure you're converting on third down on offense or not having to use third downs on offense, you'll be an elite team, man. And then scoring in the red zone, whether it's kicking a field goal or whatever, always putting points up on the board. My coach always used to tell me this. Always end the drive with a kick, whether that's a field goal or whether that's an extra point. And yes, I guess a punt could also mean that too. But we mean in a good way, right? The best teams understand the moment, not just the play. The best teams understand the situation in which they're in. The smartest players will know what to do on 3rd and 6 versus 3rd and 9. The smart players know how to cover on 3rd and 2 versus 3rd and 7. These things matter, people. They matter. They matter. Let's move into the next segment. I want to talk about pre-snap. Pre-snap alignments and pre-snap adjustments that people need to be looking for, right? So obviously, we're looking from an offensive perspective. You're a quarterback in the offense. First thing you need to be looking at is your safety alignment. How far back are the safety? Am I one high or am I too high? Because that tells you, it narrows things down, right? It narrows things down. We're going to learn you a little lesson for those of you that don't really know football that well, my younger viewers or whatever, or those that just want to learn more, right? So obviously, you see one high safety, you're thinking one of a couple things. You're thinking, okay, maybe we're in a robber situation to where the other safety is down looking for something to rob across the middle. Or we're looking at a cover one situation to where everybody is man covered, right? Linebackers included in man coverage, right? Or we're looking at a situation to where in cover 3, the back lone safety in the back and the 2 corners are in deep thirds. Where can you beat them at? The seams. Where can you beat them at? The flats. All of that. You know what I mean? It takes away a lot of things. Same thing with 2 high safeties. 2 high safeties, obviously you can roll to a cover 1. You can also roll to certain things. But if you're thinking 2 high safeties, we're looking at, okay, maybe we're in a cover 2 to where the corners are in the flats and the safeties are in the deep halves, and then we got linebackers in the middle intermediate, right? Or we're looking at a situation where in cover 4, where all 4 of the DBs are in quarters, right? Deep halves of the field, right? A lot of these things is that's what you're looking at first. Then you're looking at Mike IDs and Mike Qs. Are we looking, how many linebackers do we see out there in the field? Can we point out who the Mike linebacker is? Okay, cool. Mike linebacker is number 47. Is he blitzing? No. Where is he going? Likely, I see a one high safety. If he's in cover 3, that means he has deep middle. Okay. Or that means he has the middle, right? Or the linebackers, right? We're looking at our outside backers. Are they creeping up? Are they blitzing, right? Are we going to Are they going curl to flat like they're supposed to? Are they in the hook curl? Or what are we looking at here? If he's blitzing, who's replacing? Is that DN dropping out? Mind of a football player right there, right? And if that sounded confusing to you, it's supposed to. It's what a quarterback is going through his head all before the snap happens. All before anything happens, all of these things are going through their head. All these things are going through their head. Okay, like realistically, look, this is how I'm going to explain it. I'm going to do it all, and again, quarterbacks, let me know if I'm wrong, but this is how I seen a lot of the quarterbacks I grew up with go through things. All right, cool. Get up to the line. Coach gives the play. We're an XY, 2Y, banana right. Cool. We get up to the play. XY, 2Y, banana right, option left. Ready? Get up to the line. All right, cool. I'm thinking in my head. I'm giving my inner dialogue right now. I'm thinking in my head. Okay, we have a one high safety. I'm thinking cover 1 or cover 3. But I do see a safety instead of an outside backer over there. So what am I thinking here? Are we thinking a blitz? Oh shit, we might have a cowboy blitz, 2 loop blitzes, right? We might have a cowboy blitz. Okay, I might have to check into something different. If they're in a cover 3, I'm gonna check banjo. Banjo is a slot seam. Cool, whatever. If I'm in a cover 1, I know I have a one-on-one matchup on the outside with the corner, but I also have a one-on-one matchup with the outside backer who has to run out and guard that slot receiver. That's a mismatch. Okay, cool. But also, I see a safety out on the field. They're probably going to roll to a cover 2 or a cover 4, or it's a robber situation. Let me avoid the middle of the field, or at least until he crosses his face. If he doesn't cross his face, then I know what I'm calling here. Let's go. All this happens within a span of a second. And I just explained it in like a minute. I'm telling you, some of y'all don't think you know football until you actually have to break shit like that down, right? Some of y'all don't know football until you actually have to break that down. And the thing is for a DB, a lot of the same shit is being said at the same time, right? I'm thinking about it as a corner. All right, cool. I have doubles here. On film, whenever they went doubles, they ran smash concept, but they would switch it, right? All right, cool. So, shoot, my receiver's on the hash right now, but they're in a twins look, which means every time that receiver's on a hash, they're running two crossing routes. They're running two crossing routes with a corner and a post. Okay, I make sure I stay on the post. It's so much that goes through your head as a football player pre-snap that you need to be asking yourself, and it needs to be like that. If you hesitate pre-snap and fuck something up and don't know the play call or don't know what's going on, oh my God, it makes a world of a difference. I'm telling you, there are talented athletes. There are talented guys that can run very fast and jump very high and do all of these magnificent things on the football field, but it will never separate from somebody who has both athleticism and brains in football. Your brain is your biggest asset in football. If you do not know how to use your brain in football, don't play the sport. I promise you. That's why it irritates me, and I talk about this often. That's why it irritates me when people act like football is just a brain dead sport. It irritates me when people act like football is just something that just, meatheads, let's go bang helmets. No, it's so much that goes into it that you don't even understand. Oh my God, you don't understand. So much that goes into it that understand. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the O-line. O-line is about different too. All right, cool. We have 5 down linemen here. We're playing zone coverage here. We're in a zone blocking scheme right here. So if he comes into this area, I know I have to help the guard out, but I also know I have this edge rusher to the right of me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to chip the guard and I'm going to get into my kick step. Dude, that's why it kind of irritates me arguing with people that have not a clue what's going on, because they'll think they're sound and smart because they watch a lot of football, but there's a big difference between watching and understanding what the hell is actually being thought about in that moment. There's a big difference between watching and understanding what is being thought about in that moment. You will never know what a football player is thinking in that moment. So when somebody gets beat deep, it's, that corner sucks. Well, again, it was cover 2 on the field. The safety didn't get over top. So now all of a sudden the corner looks like he's chasing. Right? Pre-snap alignment will tell you everything. Pre-snap reads, pre-snap coverage, pre-snap thoughts is going to tell you how a play will end up going. Every time. Every single time. Right? But people don't see that. People don't see that. They don't see it at all. What they see is player A was running behind player B that scored a touchdown, right? Right? But again, I'm not here expecting you to understand everything, every nuance about the game, especially when I didn't play the game. But I do expect you to have some sympathy for players that fuck up on something or players that did this or whatever. Now, if you're fucking up consistently, I get you. I got it. Cool. A-okay. I got you. If you're fucking up consistently, it's kind of a no-go. But you got to understand what's happening here, what they're thinking in their head, how things are going in their head, right? But, all right. Next segment. Okay. All right, boom. I get a lot of questions about, or I get a lot of comments on TikTok and everything about how they talk about, like, one player affecting a whole play, right? One specific player that didn't get a block, that one specific player that didn't do what they were supposed to do, one specific player that fucked up on a play, right? But I need people to understand something. While it may look like one specific player was the one that fucked up, there was something else that went wrong within the play, because I hate blaming one specific player for a game of 22 players that need to be on one accord, right? I hate blaming one player. Now, if a corner is getting beat over and over again, where is the safety? If a corner is getting beat over and over again, did the D-line have the corner covering for 7 seconds? Did the linebacker miss time or whatever? Like, all of these things matter too, man. You cannot just blame one person. While it may look like, that it may be that player's fault, but so many things go into the game. So many things go into why something happened, right? For example, you miss a block, right? Which leads to a sack, which leads to this, which leads to that. You know what I'm saying? Who is that on? Who knows? But just understanding, blaming one person, I don't like that. I don't like that mentality, right? Because it kind of teaches you that you can scapegoat somebody despite again it being a team sport. And why do we do this thing? Why do people do this that watch it? Why do they act as if football is basketball? Like, they talk about it as if it's basketball. Yeah, no, that player just got hot. No, this is football we're talking about. Get hot? No. So many things have to happen for somebody to affect a game. Now, if you continuously going out a corner, he's making play after play after play after play. Yes, the corner is playing amazing. You know what I mean? The corner is playing amazing. Or if a receiver is absolutely killing, right? Oh, yes, the receiver is going crazy. He's playing amazing. But again, the O-line still had to block for the quarterback. The quarterback still had to throw the ball. The running back still had to pick up that last second block. The quarterback had to take the hit. All of this happens. We need to start understanding that this is a team sport. Can we stop talking about it as if it's not? He carried that team. No, he didn't. The same argument we heard about Ashton Jeanty when it came to that Heisman. Well, he carried a team. Well, again, that was the same team that won the Mountain West and was the best defense in the Mountain West and was the best scoring offense in the Mountain West and the best this and had a really damn good O-line or whatever, and had a quarterback that was consistent and had corners that made plays, but Jeanty was the only reason they won? Are we serious right now? Mind you, the defense had to get a final stop. The defense had to get this. And then another example is Cam Newton in that Auburn year in 2010. Right? We talk about, well, Cam Newton carried that team, and while Cam was a big part of that team, I'm at fault for this too, because I definitely am a part of that carry Cam thing. But again, there were players on that team. You cannot win a national championship team with one player. Now, one player can be a huge factor in why you won a national championship, but one player cannot carry a team. The defense still had to get a stop, whatever. Like, I think about that Oregon versus Auburn national championship game, and that defense stepped up. They stopped a high-powered Oregon offense that was putting up 50 on people every week. Then they held them in like 13 points or something like that. Like, come on, man. But Cam was carrying. And again, it's not me trying to discredit Cam, because Cam is one of my favorite players, probably my favorite football player of all time. But come on, man. There's too many things that factor a football game for us to only put credit on the quarterback, or only put blame on the corner, or only put blame on the D line, or only, like, dude, you have to be 26 positions strong. This is including special teams in order to win a football game, man. Winning football games aren't easy. Let somebody tell you that has never played football before. Winning a football game ain't easy. Let a middle school tell you it's easy, obviously, but winning a football game isn't easy. There's still a lot of preparation that goes into it. There's still a lot of things that go into it. There's still a lot of mental things that go into it. You can't win a football game without everybody. No, this player did not carry them. No, this player was not the only reason they won. No, this player wasn't this. No, this player wasn't that. No, this player wasn't the only reason they lost. There was 155 plays played in the game. And you think the one play that happened in the middle of the third quarter was the only reason why they lost? Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds, bro? Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds? That one player, one singular player was the only reason why a team lost? That sounds dumb as shit. In basketball, you could probably make that argument. In basketball, you can probably make that assumption. In basketball, you can probably get to that conclusion. In tennis, you can get to that conclusion. In golf, you can get to that conclusion. In any other sport that isn't a team sport full of 11 people on offense and defense and special teams, how can you sit there and truly blame a full game on one singular person and not coaching and not this and not that and not that? Why does it always have to be one person? That is ridiculous. It makes a lot of y'all sound stupid as shit. Yeah, this player carried them, and he was the only reason why they won, and he was shut up. For example, the draft was yesterday, and for those of y'all that did not watch, Ty Simpson got drafted at number 12 by the Rams. Now, I've seen a lot of comments on the video I made talk about, you don't know ball. They're setting up for the future. Do you set up for the future with the number 12 pick? On a maybe quarterback that had 15 starts? Well, he was the only reason Bama won. Last I checked, it's 22 strong in this bitch. And Ty Simpson was the only reason, yet he had to throw the receivers, and yet the defense had to get stops, and yet this had to happen. Like, shut up. Like, come on, man. Horrible arguments, horrible ways to go about it, and absolutely horrid football knowledge, people. One player cannot affect in the game. One player cannot affect a quarter. One player cannot affect a half. One player cannot affect any one singular thing. There could be a player that was a factor. There could be a player that was a big part of it. There could be a player that was absolutely doing shit killing it. But you always are going to need somebody else. I always make this analogy. Your whole offense is nothing without your O-line giving it to the quarterback, that gives it to the running back, that gives it to the receivers, that gives it to the tight ends, that gives it. Your whole defense is not predicated on, it's predicated on your D-line getting home and your corners covering and your linebackers filling gaps and stopping the run, and your safeties cleaning up the mess and putting it all together. Same thing with the offense, putting it all together. All 11 have to do your job. Every play depends on all 11. Every play depends on all 11 doing their job. That receiver had to get that block for a half a second. That corner had to hold the receiver for a half a second. That linebacker had to shoot through that gap in a half a second. That safety had to take away the middle of the field where the quarterback was looking for a half a second. Every player has to do their job. No wonder no wonder your football teams are shitty. You're over here thinking that one player affects the game. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's actually stupid. Okay? One player does not affect the game. One player will never affect the game. One player is never going to affect the game, okay? Let's get that out our head now. Last segment of the day. Why halftime adjustments make or break the game, right? A lot of the comebacks you see happen after halftime. A lot of the comebacks or a lot of the changes you see come after halftime because obviously game plans can absolutely shift from one half to the other, right? For example, in college, my sophomore year of college, we went down to Ohio. We played a team named Ohio Wesleyan. We're the number one team in the conference. We're going in there. Coach warned us before that game. He warned us before that game. Hey, we play like shit every year we play here. Can we please break that cycle? Did we listen? Of course not. We went down 19-0 going into half. And then we came out of half and got a safety. We're down 21-0. The adjustments that were made after that first play, the adjustments that were made after that, crazy. Because now they ran an RPO scheme. Now, instead of allowing them to throw the flat, now we're jumping that flat, and now we're taking away the run game by bringing an extra backer in, and then we're going 4 down the rest of the game. Halftime adjustments changes seasons, people. That's why Belichick was great at his job. That's why all of the great DCs and offensive coordinators and head coaches, that's why they like those. That's why they like their coordinators, because of those halftime adjustments. Because again, you go into the game having a plan or a course of action of what you want to do, and that whole team could blow it up. Now it's time to make a change. Okay, cool. This is what was successful in the first half. This is what we can and can't do now. Let's put it all together now. Those halftime adjustments will make or break a season. Oh my God. There are so many games I've gone into the locker room down, and then that halftime adjustment will change it all. Because now all of a sudden, we're clicking on all cylinders, because instead of running trap, we're running pin and pull. Instead of running pitch, now we're going inside dive, because we see their linebacker is slow to the ball. Now instead of smash concept, we're running flood, because the corner gets confused by he doesn't know when to sit on a route and when not to sit on a route, right? Now we're gonna run more screens to the field side, because that field corner can't tackle. Now let's change up the scheme and the plan. Those halftime adjustments matter. Those halftime adjustments are everything, man. They're everything. They truly make or break a game. But I am gonna wrap this episode here up right now. I'm going to stick with the 45, 46-ish minute episodes, because I don't think I need an hour or 20 to talk about everything that I talk about. I get through a lot, right? But We're growing on every platform. We're slowly growing, slowly but surely. We're doing our thing. Follow on all platforms at Trust Troupey Podcast on YouTube. At Trust Troupey Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please go follow. Go give 5 stars to the show there. YouTube at Troupey Whoopie. Find the Trust Troupey Podcast on there every week. Every week we're here with it. Go follow the TikTok at Troupey Whoopie. A lot of draft coverage going on right now because of the fact that the draft is happening right now. You get the point. A lot of things going on with that. At the Instagram at CT.03. Please go check that out too. We're doing big things. We're doing a lot of big things, and we're trying a lot of new things. Okay, bear with me. We got a lot of things planned. We got a lot of things coming. Planning on doing a viewer episode here soon. Another guest. You know what I mean? Just let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. If you got any tips and tricks, let me know too. And as always, you ain't gotta like me. You ain't gotta love me. You don't even gotta fuck with me. But you can trust your boy. You can trust me. Hope you guys have a great day. This was episode 15 of the Trust Troupey Podcast. Peace.